The gap between Dragon Quest XI and Dragon Quest XII is already longer than the length of time between any two previous games in the main Dragon Quest series. Before this point, the 5-year gap between Dragon Quest X and Dragon Quest XI was the record, with the 4.5-year gaps between DQ6 and DQ7, as well as DQ9 and DQ10 not far behind. Dragon Quest XII has already taken 6 years with no release date in sight. And that only leaves one question. What's happened? What's going on, guys? Noah Jai from the Geek Week here, and we're back with another video. Today we're just going to be going over some of the latest news updates we've got on Dragon Quest XII. I might be a little bit late on this, but mostly just wanted to go over some of this stuff so we could go over it in the comments, honestly. I want to hear what you guys think. And all of this is going to be coming from the developer and creator himself, Yuji Ori. And this was a interview he had that was translated by Noisy Pixel, I believe. It's actually from about a month ago. Yeah, I just wanted to go over it with you guys and honestly hear what you guys thought about it. So let's get into it. Well, it's pretty obvious that Dragon Quest XII has been facing some developmental issues, but it's been more difficult to see what those are. So during this video, we're just going to outline a few of the things that have been brought to the public eye as far as what's been holding back the development of the game. Number one being, obviously, this game was announced right before the pandemic, coronavirus. So obviously that will set you back a little bit. And specifically, most of the programmers and developers are working remotely. They're not in-house. So that makes everything difficult when we're talking communicating and working together is a lot harder when you're doing it over Zoom calls and things like that. Hori was specifically asked about that during the interview, and Hori said, yes, some employees have not come to the office for about a year, and some don't even use company computers, prefer working from home. So, I mean, obviously that can be very difficult, especially working with a team. Anything team-oriented when you're working remote is going to be difficult. It's definitely a learning curve there. Do you encounter any communication problems with this method, which is what I was just underlying? Hori said, basically we use Zoom to communicate with each other. I have a hard time remembering people's faces and names, so Zoom is just right for me with the names underneath. And he laughed after that, but I really don't find that funny. I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know right there, as far as, especially for a game like Dragon Quest, something that he cares deeply about. You know, he's been there from the beginning. This is the game that he created. Yeah, it's hard when you can't see the people that are working on your game. I mean, I would imagine that would put a big hamper on progress and on development for the game. We're closing in on 40 years of Dragon Quest, and Hori opened this interview acknowledging that fact. I'll just quote him here. Well, let me start by saying that this year marks the 37th anniversary of the Dragon Quest series, and to coincide with the 35th anniversary, an HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III has been announced. That already came out, I believe. I'm not sure if that came out yet. I have the 2D remake of 1 and 2, but I'm not positive about 3 because I saw it on the eShop, but I'm not sure if that was the remake or not. I'd have to check. But either way, very exciting there. And last but not least, I think this was the big elephant in the room as far as anybody that's been following the news updates on Dragon Quest XII. Of course, this has been said, and this was said directly in this interview, that they're working to target a more adult audience. And that came from Yuji Ori directly. So I'm not entirely sure what that means exactly. You know, I mean, I'm an adult and I like Dragon Quest, so I'm not sure what that means. In my head, I'm just gonna go off and go off on a limb here. This is definitely not fact. This is definitely my theory, but this almost sounds more like a Final Fantasy approach, right? Where they're going to try to appeal to the Westerners, right? But I'm not sure if I'm okay with that. I'm not sure if I'm all right with that. I personally loved that about Dragon Quest, that it wasn't very colonized, if that makes sense. It wasn't souped up for Americans. You know, it was what it was. You know, it was a very Japanese RPG and a very, very good one. I don't know, but that's not to say it'll be bad though. You know, it could be great if they're just talking as far as like adult themes, as far as the storyline. I guess, you know, like, well, that can't be bad. You know, that should just be regular Dragon Quest with more mature stories. That'll be great, right? But the stories, I don't think the stories were that immature now. You know, I mean, obviously it has a lighter feel. Anything with Akira Toriyama's artwork is going to have a lighter feel, I feel. I don't know. That's really what I wanted to do this video for. Mostly was that topic, the more adult Dragon Quest. What does that mean to you? And how do you guys feel about that? Please, I'd love to know. I'd love to talk to you about it. Get in the comments and let's talk about it. Yeah, other than that, Infinity Strash should be out at the end of September. I will have that up on the channel. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'll be wrapping up Anunnaki pretty soon. But yeah, man, Dragon Quest 12, a more mature audience. What does it mean? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.